Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Thursday. It's Thursday evening. We are here to talk about the economy, talk about inflation, talk about what we can do in this market that we are having here. My name is Cherie. Welcome to the 10K Project. We are the largest community of investors who actively fund Black-owned businesses. We also focus on all sorts of alternative investments, including buying businesses, starting businesses, um, investing in dividend stocks, and all sorts of other wealth building opportunities. So you can check us out, the10kproject.com. So I'm not going to be on here long today. I really wanted to just come and kind of talk about some of the things that are happening in the economy. I saw an article in Business Insider that I wanted to share with all of you. We're going to talk about some other things that are happening in the economy, and we're going to talk about some solutions that we have. So, everybody, put your city and state in the chat so we are definitely able to recognize you, because we definitely want to do that today. First thing I want to do, though, is I actually want to share a piece of good news. So, this is a gentleman named Everett Taylor, and Everett Taylor is the new CEO of Kickstarter. Kickstarter is one of the largest crowdfunding campaigns. They don't do equity crowdfunding, they do more like product crowdfunding. However, it is a Black man who is in charge of it. Wanted to definitely shout him out. He has some plans here, which I definitely want to go through. He was named CEO last week. So, again, congratulations to him. And he's been working on doing like listening surveys and things like that. He talks about that being his first couple of weeks. They're very excited about their blockchain plans within crowdfunding. So if you are somebody who is in the blockchain space, you definitely want to check him out and what they are doing. He does say here, in terms of, this is the interviewer, in terms of the kind of negative side of things, what's the most common feedback you have gotten so far? And he says here, the most common feedback is about our blockchain plans. I think there is a lot of misinformation out there. People think that we're turning Kickstarter into a Web3 blockchain company. We've started a protocol as a separate entity. We're exploring the opportunities that's there in the blockchain to alleviate some of the challenges that we face as a centralized crowdfunding company. That's it. We're not committed to moving Kickstarter to the blockchain or doing anything specific. So, again, um, Tawana, Talisha, and I came together as Black blockchain consultants, along with a couple of hundred other Black people. I thought this was definitely full circle. They have a Black CEO. His name is Everett Taylor. So again, wanted to definitely shout him out. So let's talk a little bit about the economy, some of the things that are happening in the economy. I came across this article, not that one. Hold on. Let me try it again. There we go. I came across this article here, which was the reason why I titled today's conversation. Inflation is 8.3%. Raises next year will average 4%. What are you going to do? We have to do the math here. There was a time when inflation raises kept up with inflation, but that is no longer happening. And as a result, people are starting to make some strategic decisions in their lives. And we have to move accordingly, whether we are employees or whether we are investors. We have to move accordingly. So let's read a little bit of this article here. Groceries, gas, rent, dining out, with virtually everything getting more expensive by the day, you're going to need a big raise in the new year to keep up with the rapidly rising cost of living. But according to four surveys of US employers, you're probably not going to get one. Surveys conducted by the country's top providers of compensation data show that most companies are planning salary increases for 2023 that won't even come close to matching inflation, which stands at 8.3%. According to WEW, employers plan to increase their salary budgets by an average of 4.1% next year. Surveys by Salary.com, PayScale, and World at Workplace projected increases between 3.8% and 4.4%. That means most employees will see their earnings shrink next year after adjusting for inflation. You'll work just as much, but your salary will not be as high. So, look, that is a super concern. That is a concern for us as investors. That is concern for us as employees. Um, I saw an article, I didn't pull it up, I should have, that said that Walmart is starting to feel the impact of this. So we know that definitely a recession is either coming or here, depending on how you and the Biden administration are defining it. So let's keep going. The end of 2% inflation. Unlike the federal government, which automatically adjusts Social Security payments based on the Consumer Price Index, most companies don't explicitly factor inflation into decisions around salaries. Instead of looking at the cost of labor, compensation professionals look at the cost, sorry, instead of looking at the cost of living, compensation professionals look at the cost of labor. In a sense, salary planning is a game of corporate chicken. Employers base their decisions on what everyone else is doing. That was fine for the past decade or so when annual inflation reliably averaged just under 2%, but now it is causing a problem. It's going to cause a problem for the economy. It's going to cause a problem for the average worker, you know. So we are seeing these things happen in life. This woman here says, from the employee's point of view, I totally get it because I have experienced it myself. Stuff is much more expensive and there's pain in that, says Lori Whisper, managing director at WTW. But from the employer's point of view, I want to take a conservative approach because the last thing I want to do is let people go. Okay. So a lot of these companies these days are balancing out how much in raises do they actually give you. So this is the paychecks to prices here, and you can see that there's been a dip and a big dip, especially in 2022. You're able to see that there. So look, this thing is real. And many of us already know this, but it is coming. I read an article that said it will probably last through um, the end of 2023. So it's one of those things where you just have to buckle up. You have to buckle up and you're going to have to prepare for what is coming. I want to show you another article here. And that is that nearly 70% of Americans are looking for extra work to combat inflation. Okay? So, this is a story about a few months ago, Mike Petrie noticed an alarming pattern. His bank account would get uncomfortably low on the weekends before he'd get his paycheck, paid bi-weekly on Wednesdays. Despite no changes to their daily habits, bills for him and his family of five skyrocketed. A $120 grocery bill ballooned to $200, and a $50 gas tank refill doubled to nearly $100 per top up. I think all of us can relate to this, where I even noticed it like certain products that I would buy was one price a couple of years ago, and now it's gone up so much that it's noticeable. So I think all of us have seen that. He's saying here a couple of times we've had to put our groceries on a Discover card to make sure that we had food for the week. Says Petrie, who is 45, of Louisville, Kentucky, who works for a credit card processor. He's noticed other essential costs like utility bills have gone up in the last year too. So this is Mike and his family of 5. So they make decent money. He and his wife make decent money at a nursing home, and used to be able to cover all of their needs comfortably just months ago. But with skyrocketing inflation, which rose to 8.3% year over year in August, that's no longer the case. And again, many of us are seeing this. We're seeing this within the economy. The question is, what can we do about it individually? What can we do about it with regards to our families? Because cutting costs is not enough. People are working more to cover inflation. Okay. Um, Nearly 70% of Americans are looking for extra work to combat inflation, according to more than 1,000 full time workers, part time workers, and unemployed workers surveyed by Blue Crew, a workforce as a service platform in September. Now, I would have liked for them to have done just a regular survey versus, this workforce as a service platform. But I would pretty much believe that 70%, 7 out of 10 of Americans, yes, they are absolutely looking for additional ways to make money. Some people are starting full time businesses, some people are starting part time businesses, some people are um, taking on extra odd jobs, freelancing, Uber, Fiverr, Upwork. Um, and this gentleman actually ended up, in this article, ended up getting a part time job at Lowe's. So um, already 85% of Americans said they've changed their spending habits due to inflation. 72% say it's impacted the way they view their job. And 57% have sought out new or additional roles in the past year. So here's one of the things that I think here. If 85% of Americans said they've changed their spending habits due to inflation, that means that 15% of Americans are doing really well. So that's probably high net worth families, upper income individuals, right? Um, 72% says it's impacted the way they view their job. So I think what that means is, if I don't think my job is paying me enough, am I still going to continue doing a good job for that employer? If I have lower wages, am I going to continue doing a good job for that employer? I was speaking with a woman today who has a multi-million dollar business, and she was even telling me that finding good employees has become harder and harder for her. Part of what I want to tell you is that if you are a good employee who can produce results for an employer, you can still do very well in this economy. Even though we're seeing a lot of this information, the people who can really produce for an employer are going to still be able to make it. And you probably will be able to come out ahead because of it. And the 57% have sought out new or additional roles in the past year. So look, people are still looking for the come up. They are looking to change positions. They're looking to get their basic needs met, et cetera, et cetera. So let's take a look at this article here. So this article says ex-Treasury Chief Larry Summers warns the Fed may need to hike rates above 5% to defeat inflation and sees unemployment spiking to 6%. So Larry Summers, again, ex-Treasury Chief. Let's see what he's saying here. The Federal Reserve may have to hike interest rates by more than it by more than it expects to conquer inflation, and the cost could be a painful spike in unemployment. You get that? So basically, what he's saying is that they're expecting a spike in unemployment. And because of that, we know that when white America gets a cough, Black America gets pneumonia. I think the Black America needs to buckle up big time with regards to this. So let's read the rest of the article, or some more of the article. We are unlikely to achieve inflation stability without a recession of a magnitude that would take unemployment towards the 6% range. So if it's going to be 6% overall, it's going to be double digits again for Black America. And again, we need to be aware of that. Moreover, Summers warned that if the Fed eases up in its inflation fight, that would be a prescription for much higher interest rates and a sustained and very difficult stagflation that would have serious global consequences. And if you were with us on Monday, we had the 10K economist herself, Dr. Cherie Phillips, on, and she talked a little bit about some of the global ramifications that are happening because of U.S. monetary policy. But I didn't have anything in here. Yeah, I really just wanted us to focus on the fact that greater unemployment is coming, and all of us need to do things in order to make sure that we tighten up our position at work if we need to, our full-time job, as well as maybe starting a side hustle again. So this says here, over 50% of employees say they are considering cutting jobs over the next 6 months. This was first published a couple of days ago, everybody. 50% of CEOs say they are cutting jobs over the next 6 months, and remote workers may be the first to go. So let's read a little bit more of this article here. 9 out of 10 CEOs in the US, or 91%, believe a recession will arrive in the coming 12 months. In America, half of the CEOs, or 51%, say they are considering workforce reductions during the next 6 months. Okay? One caveat for people who like working from home: remote workers may find it in their best interest to show their faces in the office as their job security becomes more uncertain. It is likely or extremely likely that remote workers will be the first laid off, according to a majority, or 60%, of 3,000 managers polled by Beautiful.ai. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. I believe, and I've read other articles about this, that remote workers fall into 2 categories. You either fall into the category of there are certain metrics you have to hit, or certain projects you have to complete by certain deadlines. And as long as you meet those, I think your job is going to be safe. Or you are a salesperson and you work from home, and as long as you hit your quota, you'll be safe. And then there are people who work from home who do not have those metrics in place. And when your boss looks at your name and they don't know whether or not you have done your job, you have done enough within the company, they don't have anything for you to judge it by. The other thing I will say is this. It says here that remote workers may find it in their best interest to show their faces in the office as their job security becomes more uncertain. If you cannot, for whatever reason, get to the office, start setting up regular Zoom meetings, team meetings with whomever, the hiring managers are, other team managers, etc. Put your nice shirt on, put your tie on if you have to, fellas. Put your makeup on, ladies, but show your face in some sort of way. Because not all of us, some of us, we're working remotely because we live 2 hours away from where, the office is, and that may not be realistic. If you are able to get to the office once a week, great. If you're not, Start thinking about scheduling time with your boss, your boss's boss, other people within the office so that they can see your face either on Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, something like that. That is my suggestion to you. Be strategic so that people actually can see your face. CEOs across the globe sounded more keen on in person work. Two-thirds, or 65%, said in office work was the ideal, while 28% said hybrid would be the way to go, and 7% said it would be fully remote. Now, let's talk about this. I think the reason why these bosses want to see people in the office is because they don't have a metric to know that you are actually doing the work that you have been assigned. And I worked for this woman a long time ago, and she said to me that you're going to have to manage your boss. You're going to have to manage your boss. I learned that in my 20s. So, in this case, if you want to continue working from home without having to worry about your position, it is going to require you to be proactive in the management of your career. All right, let's read more of this. Other research suggests there's no full-time torrent of workers back to the office. Through late September, average office occupancy across 10 major cities remained below 50%, according to the security technology provider Castle Systems. So I happen to be familiar with Castle Systems. I have a friend that works there. They basically do like security monitoring and things like that of office buildings. What they're saying is that even though these managers want more people in the office, a lot of offices are still at 50% occupancy. So either again, you could do certain things to stand out. You could either go into the office and that way you could be a stellar employee, or you can make sure that you are really driving home, number one, here are the deliverables that I have. Number two, delivering the deliverables on time or having a reason why they're not delivered on time. And then number three, letting them know that you delivered the deliverables on time. And number four, I'd also start keeping a list, a notebook, a Word document, Google Doc, something like that of everything you've been assigned, when it was due, did you turn it in on time, what were the um, how was it used, how was the deliverable used, things like that. That way, when somebody thinks, oh, I wonder if we should have her name. No, you've already engaged with your boss or whomever are making these decisions enough for them to say, yeah, you know what, we need to keep her on. She's rocking it. Okay. So um, there, there's a shift that's happening here. 70% of people are looking for part-time positions or, second income in some sort of way. You may be trying to do the same thing. There was an article that I read that said that people who are switching jobs are able to get a 9% increase on average. So that way you could beat out inflation if that's what you choose to do. Again, you could start a side hustle. We within the 10K project have a lot of different um, options and opportunities on here. So you're definitely able to take a look through our YouTube page is probably the best way to do it. If you join the 10K project, we have a lot of stuff that is in our knowledge center that's not for public consumption, where you're able to get all sorts of ideas and learn how people actually set up their businesses. You could start a business from scratch if that's what you choose to do. You could buy a business within the 10K project. We've had 10K project members actually buy businesses. So you could actually buy a business with none of your own money down and have cash flow coming in. And we work with Robin Mansell. She is the teacher of that. And, 10K Project members have bought a business. So you can come to the10kproject.com, become a member, and get more information about that program and be able to sign up for that. The other thing you could do is just help someone else grow their business. So I'm transitioning now from my full-time business to a sales role. Hopefully in the next month or so. God, God, pray for me. But I have the ability to help someone else who is having success grow their business even more. And a lot of businesses, now, you don't want to do this for totally new businesses. You want to do this for people who have something called product market fit, or they have a business that's already moving, growing, they have their operations together, and they just need somebody like you to be a part-time salesperson or business development person who could take it and grow it exponentially. But that could be a great way for you to make some extra money as well. And you can do a lot of these things part-time. So that's it for me. Short stream, just want to come here, give you some information that you are able to use. Uh, Again, I see a few more people here. I'm about to wrap up here. So definitely listen to the replay with regards to what is happening in the economy and the ways that you are able to take advantage of it. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody.